Hello, everybody, and welcome to the September 3rd episode of Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling. I'm flying solo today, and this is the last episode that we'll be filming in Saratoga. And just a short reminder, we won't be filming another episode for 2 weeks after this until September 16th as we make the transition back to Belmont, but we'll certainly be covering some races from this last week at Saratoga when we're back at Belmont in 2 weeks. But let's get right to some races from last week, and we're going to start out with a couple of back-to-back races from Thursday, the 27th. The first one is a 2-year-old maiden race. The horse we're looking at is on the outside, number 8, Sure as Gold. And the first thing you'll see, and it's a bit of a skewed camera angle on the 5 furlong races, but clearly Sure as Gold breaks about a length and a half slow or so here, compromising himself at the start. Now, we'll show you the pan as we after we watch the pan of this race. But immediately you see Sure as Gold really zooms up to get back into contention here, already expending some energy to get back in the race. And basically, as you'll see, he ends up chasing wide the entire way. And what I thought was particularly interesting was not only did he break slowly in this race, but he also worked hard the entire running of the race. Now, the winner of the race is the horse that's currently sitting second. And sort of interesting, this was the only horse in the race that actually had a race. All the others were first-time stars. The heavy favorite is right inside Sure as Gold right now on the rail. It's a Darley horse. But there is Sure as Gold, who was really 4 wide pretty much around the track once he actually got himself untracked after the bad start. He keeps fighting it out the whole way. He's really the only horse that made any move from the back of the pack, that actually made up ground in the race, because as you'll see, the first and second finishers, they're up front the entire way. Sure as Gold never gives up. Look, I'm not giving you a horse that's going to pay a big price the next time he runs, but he is a horse that really did run well in this race. I mean, he never gave up and actually finishes second here. And then we're going to show you the head on the start, and you'll see exactly why he broke as slowly as he did, because as the field comes out of the gate, he takes the right turn coming out, and I mean, feels like he went out about 6-7 paths. The rest of the field's going in, and it took him a good 50 to 100 yards before he got untracked. Sure as Gold is a 2-year-old first-time star that's clearly going to be more professional the next time he runs. He's probably going to break from the gate quickly. He's probably not going to be a big price, but unless he meets a good horse, I think Sure as Gold is going to get it done the next time he runs. We're going to go into the next race now, and it's the 5th race from the 27th. This was a 5.5 furlong turf sprint for claiming horses. Prince Woodman was the co-favorite in this race, and I think Prince Woodman is a trap the next time he runs. You see him breaking, the field basically breaks together. You know, he sort of shuffles back a little to the back of the pack, but this is the way he wants to run. The last time Prince Woodman ran, he was inexplicably on the pace. This time, Ramon Dominguez did not want to have him on the pace, and he took him back to the back of the pack. No problem here. Very contentious pace. You had one of the favorites in front involved in the pace, but a Linda Rice filly actually against Colt, dueling in this race. And both these horses, well, the Linda Rice horse finishes second to last, one of the speeds. The other one finishes a close 4th or 5th. The horse who actually ends up winning the race at a big price is sitting 3rd. Thought it was a fairly run race where the speeds didn't absolutely collapse, but closers were able to get in the race as well as stalkers. And Prince Woodman is, what, maybe 3 lengths behind the lead here? Now, you see him behind horses, and we'll highlight him again just so you can make sure you pick him up in those reddish silks. He's a little bit in traffic, a little bit steadied here, but remember something. He's also saving ground and waiting for the stretch run. And ultimately, as you see him between horses here, Ramon Dominguez obviously doesn't get the clear path between horses, but these horses, when they want to make their real rallies, they want to run unencumbered outside of horses. Ramon is as patient a rider and as good a rider as we have here. He lets the other horse clear him, and he goes outside of him. For my money, at this point, he has all the chance in the world, the clear sailing, to go by. He was 5-2 in here, yet he can't pass the 15-1 shot. A lot of people said they thought this horse had a tough trip. He should have won. I suppose in an absolutely perfect world with an absolutely perfect trip, he might have won the race. But the fact is, overall, Prince Woodman had a very good trip. He's a horse that's been dropped by his connections. Obviously, he has some issues. I want no part of Prince Woodman in the future. He's not going to be a big price. He's not getting a better trip than this one in all likelihood, and I just don't think he's that good. And I say that having liked him actually and bet him in this race. We're going to go on to another race before we end this segment of Trips and Traps, and this is one from the 28th, and this is the second race from the 28th. This is a maiden race. They're going a mile on the inner turf, and the first thing I'm going to show you is the gate pops, and a first-time star, the 8 ostensibly, doesn't come out with the field and breaks a solid 4 or 5 lengths slow. Horse was throwing his head, I believe, at the star. It was just, or her head. It was just a bad luck. The other horse I want to show you is the 7, Katmandu, who was trying the turf for the first time, and this horse, thought ran an interesting race. While she finished fourth here, ultimately she was the only horse that was involved in the pace that finished up in the top four, much better than the other speeds, and she had the worst trip of all of them. The first thing is she's pushed four wide in the first turn. It's an indecisive ride. Either you're taken back or you're going. In these mile races, you've got to do one or the other. So it ends up happening, and ostensibly is now, by the way, last in the field. But make note of the horses that run 1, 2, 3. Ostensibly is there. Second to last in the picture right now is the second finisher adjacent. The winner's getting the perfect trip, sitting the pocket fourth right now. And Katmandu is rushed up to the lead already, having gone four wide, losing position on the first turn, now rushed up to contend on the front end with actually, I think, the horse that may have been the favorite ultimately in this race, who finished terribly in here, a Bill Mott horse. The winner sitting that snug hold right behind, getting the very, very nice trip. That Shine Softly, a horse by Soaring Softly, off a long layoff for trainer Jimmy Toner. The horse who finishes second is sort of second or third to last in the picture, ostensibly is off the screen right now. So this is one of these races where essentially being on the front end was no favor to anybody. And I thought Katmandu was the one who did the most work, taking the lead on the turn, premature move. I'm not saying I think Katmandu is a superstar, but I think Katmandu is a horse that ran a great deal better than it looks here. Shine Softly, sitting on the inside, moves out around the turn. It gets no better than that. And here's ostensibly starting to make her rally. That's Katmandu on the lead. Ostensibly will show in a second. This was a Roy Lehrman first-time starter. And, of course, the horse who ends up running second is actually the last one in the picture, just if you want to keep your eye on that one. And that one saved ground the whole way and did her running at the end. This was a race that being on the front did nobody any favors. Now, I know Shine Softly wasn't that far off the lead, but she was sitting a very comfortable spot, and she also is probably far and away the best horse in this race. Ostensibly makes that big run. I don't want any part of Jason, the second finisher, next time she runs. People will think she ran impressively. Now, she did run well. I'm not trying to knock her, but ultimately I think she really had race dynamics very much in her favor. And when you compare her trip, sitting comfortably inside, to the trip of ostensibly and her getting left, clearly ostensibly ran a lot better. Now, do you want ostensibly? Is she going to be a horse that's going to have gait problems in the future? Was this random bad luck? If she breaks in the field, does she get the same kind of good trip after the bad break? And certainly she ran well with a bad break, but does she get that same kind of trip? These are all the questions you have to ask yourself when you look at these horses the next time they run and you look at their trips. But I also think that there's no question that Katmandu ran better than it will look like she ran the chart, and I would move her up off this race. A lot of questions, I don't have all the answers, but these are the kind of things you want to think about when you look at this race and when you look at all these races, especially the many two-turn grass races we ran at Saratoga. We head down to Belmont, where most of the time we're running one-turn races, and even when we run the mile and 8 two-turns, different dynamics. But the way you analyze these races and the right answers, or the better your answers, the better you're going to do when we're at Belmont and even when we go to Aqueduct. That does it for, of course, this episode of Trips and Traps. But once again, that email is tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com. We love to hear your emails. We've gotten a lot while we've been in Saratoga. Tried to show some of the races, tried to answer the emails, but we love to get your emails. We appreciate your watching. And we'll be back with a second segment.